Hi, Silk. I have to catch up with you this week. Karamia by Tanya. Hi, how are you? I'm starting back my weekly show, Sacred Conversations with Simone. I didn't really make a big splash about the show restarting, and because there's been so much going on, and so I'm waiting for my guests to plug in. I'm a minute or two early. Good morning. Well, it's good afternoon now. We're heading into the afternoon where I am. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this show I do every Sunday, but the background is different. It's usually I'm in New York, but now I'm in Barbados. And I've been in Barbados for the last almost 3 months. I think another 2 weeks is going to be 3 months. Welcome. Yes, it's your first time with the show. It is just a show where I interview individuals about different spiritual practices, spiritual wellness tools. And it started during the quarantine, right? Where I just start calling up folks and be like, hey, you wanted to have a conversation on the live. That was a time where everybody and their mother was going on live because we were all home. So listen, you could travel now. I went to Africa in May. All right. So yes, I have been in Barbados forever. And I'm going to head back up to New York soon, stay a little bit, and then come back and spend the rest of the year on the island. I just think I want to spend the rest of the year on the island, every single day on the beach. So, for those of you who are first time joining us, this is my show, Sacred Conversations by Simone. And yes, Silk, you can come to Barbados. In fact, all of you should come to Barbados. Right, so Sacred Conversations with Simone. Again, this is a show where I interview folks about different spiritual wellness practices, spiritual wellness tools, African traditional religions. We've talked about spiritual Baptists. We've talked about Shango Baptist. We've had someone on about voodoo. We talked about the yoni. That was a good one for women. We talked about astrology. We had someone on about numerology. We talked about essential oils. We've almost covered everything, and there's so much more to cover. Oh, thank you. Everybody's in love with my glasses. I purchased them from a glass place out in Maryland. It's black owned, by the way. It's called Dear Emery. They're right here on IG. DearEmery. Dear Emery. So I officially wear glasses because I can't see if I don't have these on. And so I needed to get a new pair. All right. So I'm waiting on Marlon. I think we're at 12 o'clock. I haven't seen him come on yet. I don't know where he is. I hope he remembered that we're supposed to be on here. So I hope everybody's having a great day. Hi, London. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Yolanda. So if anybody could shoot Marlon a message and tell him I'm waiting on him. Greetings, Zia. I hope you're doing well on this Sunday. I know you're doing well on this Sunday. I saw the beach photos. Yeah, so Silk, get your crew and just come down to Barbados and have a good time. Why not? There he is. Okay, let me invite Marlon on. Here we go. Yes, I just sent him the invite. Let me just pin him on here.
Yes.
Hi, I'm
Hey,
pinning
what's
you.
up? What's goody?
Hold on, don't move yet, so folks can find you if they're interested in more information. I should have done this while I was chit-chatting.
Yes.
But how are you?
Good. Yourself? How are you doing?
Yeah, okay, so I pinned your information on there. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
So I have this fan going on in the
No, you're
back
good. You can hear you. We put this other.
because it is, but I'm not hearing you well with the fan on. So I gotta
No.
hold tight. And because it
Yes.
is already nearly 90 degrees here. And it's only
It's
12 o'clock.
cold. It's so cold here. Oh my
Oh,
God.
really?
It's so cold. Yeah. My hands is numb. I want socks, sweats.
It's blazing here.
I'm
It's
not.
already like 80 something degrees, 88 degrees here. The whole place is on fire.
Uh,
So you're at one extreme and I'm at the next. I just want to be in the
yes.
middle.
No, I want to be on your extreme. Bring the heat.
Right?
Ah, yeah, bring the heat, man. When it get cold, all I just think of is indoors and indoors. That's all I think
My
of when I
God.
think of cold.
Because usually on a Sunday after I finish this show or when I didn't even have to show,
Mm,
um, I'll do a lot of writing or researching or preparing for my week.
on Sundays,
And
yeah.
or on a rare occasions, Netflix and chill.
Uh-oh, watch out.
Hello.
Okay, all right.
Anyhow, let me not get into my personal business on this line.
Yes, you can.
Hi,
Why not?
Marlon.
We can do it. Let's do it. How you doing, Simone? You out there living it up, man.
Living,
I'm
and
just
everybody
listening.
thinks that, but
No,
it
I'm like
is.
I'm seeing the water, the lives of the water, the all the fresh juices you're drinking in the morning, all
Yes.
the
I'm
it's
trying to be disciplined, and I'm being taken care of. I'm really being taken care of. And that is something that Spirit have told me I need to embrace more, being taken care of, you know? So I
mm,
wasn't the best this morning, and I was and we have a housekeeper who comes once a week, and she came to
mm,
my door and she said, Simone, I have some bush for you, I have some herbs for you. And I was like, thank you so much, Nicole. Her name is Nicole, right?
Nicole. Thanks,
Yeah.
Nicole.
And she brought all this bush and she says, we're gonna plant it, and I don't even know what it is, but apparently it's supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be good for you. So we're gonna plant it. And I so appreciate her pouring into me.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because that's something that I needed this morning to get my whole self in gear. To talk to you and be on the Clubhouse platform and all these kind of things. So I really
Oh,
appreciated Nicole. Shout out to Nicole.
shout out to Nicole.
Yeah, she's
Are
out there
you
being a
on
big.
Clubhouse right now too?
Huh?
You're on Clubhouse right now too?
No, no, I
I
was
mean,
on
I don't know. I'm sure
earlier.
people that do multiple
Yeah, yeah,
channels
yeah.
at
I can't.
once.
I can't do that. Someone else will have to monitor that for me.
Yeah,
I can't do all multiple me. Like I will have to have a producer.
I've tried it
So
before.
anybody who wants the job, it's not paying, but I
Free
could really
work.
do with a producer right now,
Yeah.
right? Marlon, thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
coming
for
on
having
this
me.
live with me and being a guest on my show.
Thank you. It's
Um,
exciting, actually. I'm very
yeah,
excited.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We met. Was it late last year or earlier this year? Earlier this year at the temple.
early this year at the temple. Yeah.
At the temple, yeah, when they had the event for small businesses.
The pop-up shop. Yeah. That I
Yeah, yeah,
orchestrated. Yeah. Yeah.
you're right.
That was your
Wait,
first
I
time.
want
Yeah.
our listeners to tell me if they're hearing us properly. If you aren't, just let us know. Somebody
I
was saying
can
something about
hear
marketing
over
over the
the
recording.
recording.
What recording?
Mm-hmm.
Unless she's saying hearing the fan. Are you hearing the fan, Marlon?
I'm hearing you fine. Yeah.
Oh, all right, let me turn that on. That might be a little distracting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so we met
If
earlier at yeah, she says she can hear better now. It was the
okay.
fan. So we met at the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
that was a
God.
great event, by the way. I know you had planned that event.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we had planned. That was a really great event.
Yeah.
And we've been communicating since. And we only
Yeah.
see ourselves, we only see each other when there's an event at the temple.
When is it? Yeah.
And that's always a joyous occasion because
Oh
we're
yeah.
celebrating the ancestors and or the orishas and just
To
being in commune with the community,
yeah.
to just be in that space of reverence and gaining knowledge and messages and just honoring those who are helping us in this,
On
right?
marketplace.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
decent way to call it. I couldn't even find the word. And I really enjoy the work that you're doing towards helping folks with their fitness goals
Mm-hmm.
and their exercise goals, and really shaping that out for them and helping them see what that can look like.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really, really enthusiastic about the fact that the majority of your clients, from what I see, are Black women,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there is this need for us, including myself, because I need to get back into that exercising thing again. Because once upon a time, I used to lift weights.
Exercising thing.
Listen to me. The muscles was popping, the six pack. Oh, you didn't want nothing with your girl now.
Let's go.
So I'm enthusiastic about the fact that you are encouraging Black women to get on board and be more serious, I should say, about their health and their fitness.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your background in fitness. How did that happen?
How did it happen? Wow, we gotta go way back. So fitness for me started. I was always active, and for me it was an escape because I didn't want to be home. You know, home was boring. Home there was that one television station, TTT, and we know what's coming on. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to be home. So anything school wise, any after school activities, I would want to sign up for. You name it, I've signed up for it. I've done badminton, swimming, hockey, table tennis. I've tried basketball. You name it, after school activity, sign me up. And I just had a knack for. I was pretty good at everything I played in from a kid coming all the way up, and I just leaned. Eventually, I just leaned into tennis and track and field, and everything I've done it's always brought me back to that fitness environment. Every time I've always been put into leadership roles in that fitness environment. And then when I came to the States, it just seemed when I was like, okay, I got to do something to lean into fitness again. And that's why I got my first job here as a head pro for a tennis program, teaching inner city schools, kids 6 to 18 in Brooklyn here.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, ever since then, I just feel very like this. I've always been able to feel like I've always felt like this is what I'm here for.
To do.
To pass it on, yeah.
Right.
And ever since that first summer when I coached little kids tennis, ever since then, before I was in more of a playing in a playing position, and that summer I became more of a teacher. And ever since I did that first, my whole mindset totally switched from me to you and to pass it on every single thing. And that's been the beginning of my life in service.
So basically we can say that you found your purpose pretty early.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You found your purpose really early. And that you were able to, not only that you found it, but you figured out how to work with it, what to do with it, how to map it out. And sometimes a lot of people, this comes up in, when I'm reading folks, they're like, Simone, I don't know what my purpose is. So when we get to figure out what their purpose is, because they didn't realize they were already doing it. 9 times out of 10, we're already in the space. But because we're looking for this purpose to look a particular way, we miss it. Right? And we're already in the mix of doing the work.
Yeah.
and flexing accordingly. So I like the fact that, and that didn't even, that thought process in preparing for this interview didn't even come up about finding your purpose, but you just identified here in explaining your background into fitness.
Yeah.
Why do you think that fitness chose you? Why do you think that happened?
Why fitness chose me? Ooh, good one. I would say mainly because I'm very disciplined.
Yes,
I'm
that
very
that is
disciplined.
a fact.
You must be. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very disciplined, and in the passing on sense, I think I've excellent people skills in because people need to trust you. People need to trust that you have their best interests. You're going to
Yes.
take care of them. They could feel vulnerable with you. So I have that knack for just people just gravitate to me, and in fitness aspect is that's definitely like my thing. So I
Mhm.
would say because of my discipline, and I have an unspoken way of communicating with people. I always say I'm good at hearing things that you're not saying to me.
Mm. Mm.
You know,
Right.
and with what I'm hearing that you're not saying, I communicate. I adjust my communicating because at the end of the day, my goal is to get you your goal. So I will know how
Right.
to. It's like a chess game to me sometimes. You
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. With this, oh well, we have Grander. He was saying that you were always about perfection in form
Yes.
doing
Yeah. You know
things,
what?
and it was
This
always moving in school and during breaks.
this this guy I went to school with from was before primary school. So since then, and so we
Oh,
went
that's
every
interesting.
school together. Yeah.
Oh
What's
wow.
up, Garth? Yeah.
I know you are, you know, deep into your spirituality, right?
What in there?
And really focused on, you know, being that the best that you can be in that space.
Yeah.
How has fitness helped your spiritual growth, and or how has your spiritual growth been
Growth.
aided by fitness?
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things a lot of people will know me from that I do run, but to
Mhm.
this day I maintain I do not enjoy running.
Mhm.
But while running, that's the only thing that I do that it takes me to this, like I need to go to another level of focus to get it done. So it becomes kind of meditative for me. So at the beginning of a run, I look at it like a room that's a mess, just scrambled all over. And when I'm finished, everything is organized and in its place. Um, so I always liked doing things that was outside of my comfort zone because I always feel like I'm going to gain more from stuff like that. And in that, so I've done quite a lot of running. So I've been in that uncomfortable, very focused phase. And in that very focused phase, I mean, in addition to, figuring out your day-to-day problems, I've always questioned, what's, where are we? What's happening? I've always been fascinated with religion and spirituality, and why am I here? What is this? What does this mean? Where does this come from? I've always been fascinated with the universe like that, and so the more that I was in that space, the more I would be able to get deeper and deeper into questioning, and after questioning, you start seeking information. You start asking questions. You start reading, and that led me to spirituality. I would say I was always kind of my own little thing. I would have my own little bubble. I would say I had my own bubble, and in this bubble, like it's good over here.
Mhm.
And I've uh, exposed myself to a lot of different religious practices, different religions, and I've never felt a connection with it.
Okay.
I've never felt a connection with it until lately. My recent part of my spiritual journey. I've never felt connected to anything, but this is and for me, I've always been that seeing is believing. Like, prove it.
Yes.
I like, prove it. I don't feel anything. Like, I need to be convinced.
Yeah.
And I have been convinced from day one. Like, so that was enough for me. And because I've been convinced over and over and over and over and over again, it's the more I could feel myself just letting go and falling deeper and deeper.
Falling deeper into it. Yeah.
Because it's amazing. It feels safe. Like, okay, this is the path, and this is a safe path. I have no questions on this path. Just go. So that's where I'm at.
I also, going back to where you said that you're a very disciplined person.
Yeah.
That is a trait that is very important in one's spiritual journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because, and I may get a few hits for this. Christianity, in a sense, does not hold you accountable. Right? Because they will tell you, you could just go and ask God for forgiveness and everything will be all right. But with us as melanated people and the spiritual practices that we come from, we are held accountable for the things we said that we were going to do. And the things we said we were no longer going to do. Right? So having that discipline to stay on course and know that, in the morning I have to get up, I have to say my prayers, I have to feed my orishas, I have to feed my ancestors. There's a whole set of things to do before I start my day, because these things are going to keep me covered. Right?
Yeah.
And often or not, when I'm doing reading sessions with clients, the spirit will always come up and say, you need to get moving. You need to do some kind of movement. That will be some form of exercise.
Yeah.
They would look at me like, why is that coming up, in a reading? Like, are you kidding me? Tell me what color I had on yesterday when I went to work. Like, I'm like, listen, this isn't that type of reading.
Right.
This is a conversation that is going to identify certain things that is going on in your life story, and then give you some possible solutions to try to help you to clear out all the nonsense. And exercise is something that usually would come up in an exchange that I would have in one of my sessions. And so if Simone comes to Marlon and says, Marlon, man, listen, I went to this will be a woman. And she said, I got exercise, right? And she just said the spirit tell her I got move, I ain't moving, and blah, blah. Yeah. What would be, how would you engage me in finding out exactly what my exercise structure or plan should look like with you working with me?
But everyone is totally different. So I do an assessment with everyone over the phone first, plus a video, since the pandemic, to find out where from their perspective, what do they think their goals are? Because how they would describe their goals, like I say, once again, I'm hearing things they're not saying.
Right.
And from the keywords they use, I would get a good idea of like, oh, you mean this. But I just try to meet everyone where they are and to realistically explain to them what it takes, because everything is going to require discipline. No matter if there is a goal, it's going to require consistent discipline. And that's the biggest thing I encounter with most people is the discipline. But most of the people I work with on a week-to-week basis. So I don't give goals like more than a week. We just work 1 week at a time. So seems very digestible. We just plan this upcoming week here, and we set tiny goals. small things that they agree on that they could do. I kind of steer them. I could always say, you're the performance car. I'm this very skilled driver. You have the tools,
I like
but
that.
I will steer it. So you
Okay.
gotta, and that's another analogy I use also. I would tell people to, if you were to call yourself a car, a high performance car, what kind of car would you be? And then if they pick, okay, whichever one, I say, okay. So now if you want that performance car to run like a high performance car really work, you gotta put good gas in there. You understand?
Yeah.
It's people understand, everyone gets, yeah, good idea. But I think we all basically know what's good, what's bad. But sometimes it's just that analogy that you connect with that will stick with you. That so I'm like I said, I have a lot of years of customer service with people, so I'm really good at detecting what type of approach I need with that person.
Before I go any further, if you guys have any questions for Marlon, just type it in the comments and I'll read them to him. Yeah, if you have any questions for him. It's just not me asking the questions, but feel free to engage with us. I'm not going to bring you up on video. We're not going to do that. Just type your questions and or statements in the comment section. I like how you mentioned fuel in the tank. How does food play a role with you working with your clients?
Food is like I always say. How clean do I need to speak?
No, listen, non-judgmental. Remember reading by Simone, full of love, light, truth, and without judgment. You should know that.
I'm like, let me just double check before I let it rip. So one thing I always say, eat shit, you're gonna look like shit.
Like shit. Facts.
So let's kind of, but once again, I also, don't be cussing, Lord. So once again, I always, like I say, I meet people where they are. So I would go over their last 2 weeks of food, and from that, make very small changes, small adjustments. Nothing, not going from whatever you're doing this week, then say, okay, tomorrow we're doing juices and celeries. That's not realistic. So wherever you are, if you are a 2 out of 10 that week, next week our goal is to be a 2.5. Then a 3. So really small, because those are the things that people could sustain, because like I say, it's going to require consistent discipline. They're going to take some time. So the food is a very, very, very big part, but it's something that actually requires the most work. And a lot of it is connected to,
your mindset.
It's a mindset. It's the things we put in ourselves is a level of our self-respect. The amount of respect we have for ourselves is what we put inside our body. At the end of the day, a lot of it is very mental.
So what pointers would you give me to stay motivated, to stay disciplined, to stay focused on the fitness goals that you and I have charted out together?
So if we charted it out together, I would say keep me posted, keep checking with me here and there, send me a picture. I would say track your food. Tracking always helps. Accountability partner always helps. Having someone, a group, more than one helps. And most importantly would be to be patient. Be patient. It requires patience.
Right.
It requires it's a lifelong process. So it's patience. I have not peculiar.
That's Peculiar Treasures wants to know about your prices for training.
I have not. They hit me up on the side, and I will tell you that.
So listen,
ma'am.
Virat Sharma _33. I'm not bringing anybody on a video on the show. And you said you're Indian. I don't know what you being an Indian have to do with me adding you in the video. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. But
probably a box. I
we
don't
will
know.
move on, huh?
Yes.
For this Sunday.
It is Sunday.
So what are your spiritual wellness tools besides exercise? What else do you do?
Ooh, what? Listen. So, a couple of words I would describe myself: discipline and obedient.
Ah.
And those things I take daily checks of. My morning is a lot of being thankful, prayers. I have a list that I go through. I tell people, I say, when I say I prayed for you, I literally called your name. I have a list I go through in my head. I have my water, my tongue scraping, my stretching in the morning, my smudging, my sage, my candle lighting, my talking to my altar, my feeding the altar, my fresh water. I have a lot. And one of the biggest things that I started doing, so normally before, it would be a reflex. You walk aside, you turn on the music. So in that time is when I really start just talking to everybody. I might walk to the train. But when I'm amongst people, that's when I keep it. I just probably listen to like a podcast. But I've tried to really stay connected constantly talking, because I've had enough experience to, I've had enough personal experience to know that I'm not doing this by myself.
Ashe.
So I constantly appease and communicate to people who I know I could feel are always with me. Always.
Yeah.
Like I very rarely do I feel like alone. Very, very rarely, yeah. Hey, yeah, drop some hearts. What up? What's good?
Do you know what Marlon means?
Do I know? No. I don't even like the name, actually.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel like every time when I was younger and I heard someone call my name, I would just feel like it was a grown person's name. And then when I saw people who were named Marlon, I'm like, we have the same name? But no, I don't know what it means. But
so it is Latin for little falcon or little hawk.
Ah, okay.
All right. And the hawk symbolizes, and it has a meaning. It includes intelligence, independence, adaptability, messages, clairvoyance. The falcon speaks to ambition, aspiration, superiority, dominance, freedom, and victory. Does any of that?
Oh, a lot of it, yes.
Speak to you?
A lot.
And how are you these things, you think?
Wow.
Well, let me say a little bit more. The hawk spirit animal is sacred to many people who feel a kingship with these majestic birds, right? And the falcon represents the fight against our fears, as well as a metaphor for clear vision.
Wow.
In some cultures, they are associated with the sun and stands for its light and positive energy.
Wow. Someone says songs up my alley.
Your alley.
Sure does. Wow.
How does that speak to you with the work that you're currently doing, with the spiritual journey that you're on, that your culture, your background, your beliefs, your moral? When I read those sentences to you and the meaning of Marlon, which I believe now after hearing that, you should just fall in love with the name. You should fall in love with the name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, how does any of that resonate with you?
A lot of it. I would say most of it resonates with me. Wow. I'm surprised I never even looked it up, because this makes, and when I look at the orishas that come up in my readings, it's like dead on. I'm like, this song's wow.
I like the clairvoyance piece though. That you need to sit with that piece, because that may help to explain who you are now. Because you know, clairvoyance speaks to your third eye,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that troubles me.
Why?
It troubles me because it's never I've never really focused on that part,
Mm-hmm.
and until once was that this year? I think it was this year before I initiated. I did a what do you call it? Acupuncture, and it
Ah,
was one here,
yes.
and I swear that thing was like pulsating for
Pulsating.
like 2 months, and
After
from
the
that
fact.
like 2 months, I've never even been aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, from that is when I started my dreams, my 2 months of dreams really started coming, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting, and I don't know. I feel like there's something there, but I don't want to go there. I like where I'm at, where I could just sit back and talk to someone and get
Mm-hmm.
more than what they're saying, and that's as
Mm-hmm.
far as I want to. That's as far as I comfortably want to go.
Mm-hmm.
More, I will be comfortable with more. Let me not say no, because
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm not there. But
Your
any
name
any
speaks to who you are.
yeah.
Beautiful, powerful love says, plus get a numerology reading too. Your name is so relevant.
Uh, will
When I
do.
was preparing for your interview, after we had communicated and I sent you the flyer and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and I had to sit to prepare my questions, the first thing Spirit said to me, and I kid you not, Google his name, look up his name. Because I sit with Spirit and I would ask them what questions to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spirit said, look up his name and talk about the meaning of his name. So when I looked it up, I was going to add it to the questions so you can read it. And Spirit said, no,
Oh.
read it in the interview. Right? So the mere fact that what was read in regards to the meaning of your name, you can say it's in alignment with the readings IFA readings you would have had. I
100%.
know Barbara is telling us if you have a numerology reading, everything would be aligned.
Yeah.
That's what she does.
Ah,
Everything will
okay.
be, yeah,
She
yeah.
does that.
She's one of my guests next month.
Okay.
Everything will be aligned in the same way. And that is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Whether you go and get a reading with somebody in the rocks, somebody will read you with tea leaves, you
Yeah.
go to a meeting, everything must align. Everything must be the same way. So
Yeah.
I encourage you in one of your um, sessions when you're meditating,
Mm-hmm.
to sit with your name,
Okay.
to sit with your
And
name, because it's
before,
very important. And there's something, the fact that it says messages and clairvoyance, and then you talk about that third eye energy when you had
yeah.
the acupuncture.
Yeah.
That's loaded, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
A
yes,
lot
it
of
puts pressure on you. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying a lot of things I've seen and I've felt and I've experienced a lot of it this year. Initially, I was very like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Mhm.
But as time come by, I've been more open to just go with it, Marlon. You know,
Yes.
just go with it,
Allow
and
it to flow.
yeah,
Allow it
just
to
just
flow.
go with it. So yeah, I've been it's been you're pretty familiar, but I've had a pretty heavy year
Mhm.
spiritual wise.
Mhm.
So it's been from zero activity, 0 5 to like 100 activity. So
Yes.
this year's been pretty heavy, and initially scary, but now I'm seeing, I feel much more comfortable with a lot of things, and I know how I am, and I always go where I'm pulled, where I feel that pull, and so if that's where it's pulling me, I will be there.
And that's where it is.
Yeah.
So besides fitness and exercise, another thing that would often come up when I'm doing sessions, when I'm doing readings with folks, is that Spirit would tell them, you know, try yoga, try Pilates. And I know that this is a form of movement, I would say, that is not really loved by persons in the fitness community, exercise community, you know, because I've lived with a personal trainer, and you know, anytime I would say, you know, I'm going to try yoga, I'm going to try Pilates, I would get a side eye. There'll be no comment, but a side eye.
Right.
So what is your take on all that? And be honest.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely. So this, I don't know if people look up interviews I've done in the past, but this is something people always ask me this kind of question to get a triggering response, but I feel very strongly about it. Well, so one thing I would say, I consider myself like a performance coach, so more of overall performance.
Really?
So I don't believe in no one thing. I believe in exposing your body, like doing everything. That's how you're gonna do the most. Your body is gonna respond best if you do different types of movements. With that being said, yoga, I love the stretching, like stretching. Get me to stretch any day.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
But the verbiage in most yoga, not all, I've had one, hopefully this person isn't here. I've had one yoga class that wasn't palms to the heart, chest. It's the verbiage that wears me out.
All right, Trini.
No, it's distracting to me. It's
right.
It comes to me. It just comes off so pretentious. Like I'm here for a stretch, and you're trying to give me spirituality. Like just stretch me out. But I'm sure people have their own approaches. But I'm going into the yoga for the stretching aspect. But when I'm going for stretching, and I'm getting all this, it's like this is too much for me. Like I'm good.
Okay.
So for that aspect, I don't like yoga. Some people it works, but the yoga movements, of course, everyone should do them. Pilates, I love Pilates. Pilates, a lot of my movements are very core. Like most of the work that I do is centered between the core and the hips. So Pilates is So Pilates is definitely a favorite of mine. Mat Pilates is a favorite of mine. Into core, so it reminds me a lot of my own. My style is very form based and core focused, and you know, a lot of the cues are very similar. So I like Pilates. Okay. Yoga, I'm sure there's going to be a great yoga class that I'll go to, but I don't.
So tell us no, sorry, go ahead.
No, I say movement. I say people just to do any kind of movement, most movement. Like, so I would say it's on a list of priorities, how much time you got. So I would say on my list of stuff, yoga is not in my top 10.
Okay.
Of things that I would want to do. If I had all the time in the world to do, yoga is not in my top 10. So I don't yoga.
Okay. So tell us about what services you offer. And again, for the audience, if you have any questions for Marlon, just type them in the comments and I'll read it.
Yes, drop some questions. So I am, I consider, like I said, I consider myself a performance coach, which is it's much more holistic than saying a personal trainer. So I get into the whole movement, your whole injury history, strength, it's mobility. So it's very, very individual. So my actual assessment is a very, very long process. So I do a lot of assessing people. I do a lot of analysis, a lot of gait analysis. You can tell a lot from how we walk, how we stand. I do a lot of that. But the main thing I do right now is fitness coaching, which is basically kind of just like steering people.
Okay.
You know, I don't do too many one-on-one sessions, but more one-on-one, like a coaching session. Let's talk about your food. Let's talk about your activity. Let's talk about this, and let me. Because I think what I'm really great at is communicating with people some tiny things that they can do that could add up to make big changes.
Yeah.
And just to put it in them, because at the end of the day, they need to walk away from my conversation really feeling confident that, like, I got this. And I'm 100% sure that everyone that I have that conversation with, they got it. So we work on a week-to-week basis. So fitness coaching is mostly what I do now. So virtual is all 100% virtual. If you're looking for a fitness coach, if you're where you are right now, you want to improve, you have a plateau, you want something fresh, hit me up. I got you. You name it. Whatever your background is, trust me, I can get you to the next level.
Essence
That's mostly what I do.
Essence of Ashe is calling you Coach Babe.
Yeah, you know what? That's what they call me. And I didn't even know where it started, but you know, I'm a running coach.
Okay.
And, yeah, so I'm a running coach. And it's been this running thing because, you know, I'm always shirtless. So the whole Coach Bay, like, that's what I'm calling in a lot of running circles, Coach Bay.
Coach Bay.
They made me t-shirts, they made me Coach Bay hats and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you don't like running, and I don't either, but I do admire, you know, we have a mutual friend, Linda, who's big on the running scene. Yeah, and I mean, she looks amazing with it. But that is an exercise I even doing a warm-up on the treadmill, right? That is something I just can't get my mind to.
Simone,
and I prefer to lift weights, you know.
Simone,
yeah.
This is sounding just like me. I do not. The most I've ran was running around a track or on a tennis court back and forth, but nonstop. But it's that mental. It takes you to another place. You must. It's like a deeper focus. And like I said, for me, that's only when I run I get to that level. So I'm kind of running. I'm going running to get that level, not to go for a run, because the run I'm good for the run. I don't need to clear my mind. I need to. You gotta try it. Yeah, you gotta try it.
Where are you taking your brand next? Whatever you can share with us, you know, in the forum. Where's the Marlon Jude brand going in regards to
what can I share?
Exercise? You answer that, and I'll tell you what I'm hearing. If you don't mind, I should ask you permission first. But you tell me where the Marlon Jude brand is going next.
So I have a couple of. I feel like I'm at a fork in the road, and there are a couple of places I can go.
Okay.
And
share what you're comfortable sharing, if you know.
What I can, what I'm
what you're comfortable sharing, because some things you may not be ready to put in public yet, but
yeah, I won't. Let's see. Okay. Let me watch what I'm saying here. I want to divulge anything here.
Yeah.
I will always I think the brand one. Do I want to go there? Not yet.
Okay.
I'm at a fork, and there's some
things you're trying to work out. That's fine.
That's trying to work out.
You said a fork is like the crossroads, right?
I'm trying to feel where it's I feel the pull.
Right.
And but you know, well, you know about my whole upcoming changes.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting till I'm there to be in that environment to allow the pull to. So I'm waiting for Spirit to guide me.
What I'm hearing with you, though, is not even a fitness trainer. I'm sorry to keep looking because I have windows at both sides and I'm getting pulled spiritually in different directions. So when you see me look here, I'm getting
Yes.
listen, this whole thing in being on an island,
Yes,
at the
amazing, of
level
course.
I'm at with my spirituality,
Yeah, heavy,
because yeah, it's heavy and
active.
different, right?
Yeah,
So everything now is a message, like not
let's
that it wasn't
go.
like that in New York, but here now
Yeah,
it's just like lit.
yeah,
So anyhow, when I talk to you and when I see you, Marlon, and I see the work that you're doing and the work you're doing with people's lives, I'm always hearing a lifestyle coach. I
yeah,
don't hear a fitness trainer. And that could be because you're transforming lives, not only with the physical, but with the mental and with the emotional. And
yeah,
then, not let us not discredit, because some people don't like to mix spirituality and their professional lives, or
yeah.
religion and their professional lives. But your spiritual energy naturally infuses the relationship that you
Yes,
have with your clients.
with my people. And honestly, Simone, I tell people before I work with you, I'm kind of interviewing you,
Yes, for sure.
seriously, seriously. And when I feel that, I need to feel that more than just that aesthetic. I need to feel because I want your life, not just your arms and your stomach. I want your
Mm-hmm.
life to be transformed,
Yes,
and
Ashe.
I'm willing to, and I'm willing to be a part of that. I'm willing to help guide you. But I want to make sure that person is that willing type also. But
Yeah.
that's like when I say my fitness coach,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, it goes way beyond just. That's why I say it's like a full touch base about everything,
Mm-hmm.
and in that is because you have to know about everything in someone's life to understand how to help them.
Help them. Ashe.
To help them, you
Ashe.
have to, and they need to feel comfortable and safe with you for them to be vulnerable and to share with you because and that's one thing I think people feel safe with me then
Ashe.
they like this is the story like I need help
Yeah.
and they feel safe like I will take care of them. That's
Mm-hmm.
one thing I would say.
Yeah. And that safety energy is very important for women.
Yeah,
Very important for Black women, right? Because in any environment, whether our trainer or our spiritual elder or the person we're going for reading for, or our nutritionist or a
yeah,
gynecologist or a dentist, the energy of safety, of feeling
oh
safe,
yeah,
is so important, that you feel comfortable enough to be free
free, yeah,
and express and say, okay, this is what is going on with me.
yeah,
This is what I need help with. How can you help me?
yeah,
And someone here said to just give you your flowers. 868 in the 718. She says, as a coach, he's an excellent listener. He lets you show up as your 100% true self. And that is
yeah,
so important, because
yeah, thank you.
there's a lot of people who don't listen,
Yeah, you have to.
and they only listen to respond, but not listen to hear
Here,
what you're really saying.
right.
And you said this thing 2 or 3 times already in this interview, that you also hear what is not being said.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is so important,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And because of that energy, Marlon, is why I felt it was important to talk to you today and have you launch Sacred
Yeah.
Conversation with Simone
We're back. We're back.
2021, 2022.
Yes. We're back. We're back. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If anything else I would like to add,
Oh,
if any,
well, how can we get in contact with you? I forgot that part.
I'm
That's
here on
very important
Instagram.
now.
I'm here on Instagram, the Marlon Jude, or my email address is, what is my email address? I am marlonjude@gmail.com, or you can check out my website, marlonjude.org. I am an org. marlonjude.org. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for being you.
Thank you. Simone, thank you.
Thank you so much for showing up in spaces to help us and help the community. You know, I see the work you're doing with the temple, you know, and the work with the youth and what Baba is trying to do over there. And that is so important and so needed as we move through. What some people call it a pandemic, others call it a reset, some of them call it panorama, some of them call it panini. You know what I'm saying? As we move through this different energy that is just shifting every single day. You know, the work that you were doing is so needed now. The work that they're doing is so needed as well. And, you know, like I was saying to you when I sat down to prepare for this interview today, and I allow the ancestors to come and whisper to me some of the questions that I have on what to write down, what not to write down, what to ask, you know, while we're exchanging. I was also hearing that he has done so much for women, right? Who've come to you in a place feeling as if, you know, they're looking in the mirror and not happy with what they're seeing.
It's, I don't want to say fascinating, but it's incredible how much thought that happens, how much times a day. One of my clients, well, she's definitely not here, in her mid-70s.
Sweet.
And she's walked me through. She's like, this is how my day goes, Marlon. She said, I wake up, I'm thinking about, am I looking fat today? How was my belly? What I could wear? Wakes up. She said, I've been thinking about, she said, I've been like this, she said, since I was a kid. She said, I don't even know where it starts. And she just goes through her day and how much things just that I don't even think about, that she's think her mind is so much on this self-esteem and the image and being received and what she's putting out. And I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah. She's like, my whole day I think about it.
Yeah.
And that for me is all. I have a mother, I have a sister, I have aunts, I have friends, and I just hate knowing that these are things they have to deal with.
Of course, yeah.
And any chance I get with a female to help change that narrative in their mind, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm on it because, I'm on it.
And I just want you to know that you're appreciated for that. You're appreciated for your patience. You're appreciated for not judging us.
Yeah.
You know, in our moments of vulnerability.
No, never.
That's where the safety piece comes in. That's where the trust piece comes in. That's where you allow us to be honest with who we are and honest with where we want to be. You know, it's not everybody wants to have a rock core. You know,
no,
they just want it neat enough so they can fit in that hot dress. You know, and not for anybody else, but for themselves.
Yeah. And one thing before I want to go, one of the biggest transformation that I see with people it's more of a mental transformation. Sure, the physical changes, but I always remember that first conversation and how that person, what they were like when I first met them, and just to see them become more outspoken, more confident. That's like that wakes me up every day wanting to work.
Right.
When I see them like that person like really changing, you know. The
Mm-hmm.
physical is one part, like I say, but more that internal, they becoming like, this is who I know this person to be. That's most fascinating to me. That wakes me up. That's my drive. Nothing I six pack.
868 in the 718. She says he has seen me cry far too many times.
Yes. So listen, Simone, I go there with people, and I'm always like there to give you some tough love, some words. Tell me everything. Let's go through. Let's keep it pushing. Yeah. I'm there. So you can cry in front of me all the time. Let's go. Yeah. It's a safe space.
Safe space.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Thank you, Marlon.
Thank you.
This was this is what I wanted it to be, and you gave me what I wanted. Sacred Conversations, the first show.
Yes, we're back.
For 2021 to 2022
season, yes.
To look like,
we're back.
You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing you when I come down. Yeah. And I want to come to in time for the Oya Festival. Oh yeah. You know, that was my first festival at the temple. Yeah, the first time I experienced a festival, and I was like, my jaw was just on the floor. The entire experience.
I'm supposed to miss it.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe.
But we'll make up for one of the other.
Yes, of course.
There's so many going on, right?
Yes.
But thank you, beloved.
Thank you so much for having me, Simone. Like seriously. And like I say, you've known me on a different side, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Of course, anytime. And thank you guys for joining us. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Simone, and I am a spiritualist. I'm a medium. I am an intuitive reader. And you can book me via my IG page at readings_Simone. All the information is on my profile. My guest this afternoon was the handsome Marlon Jude. You can find him also here on IG at the Marlon Jude, at the Marlon Jude. And all his services are listed. How you can contact him is there also. Please follow us both, you know.
Yes.
And you know, ask us any questions you may have in our direct messages. Next week, I'm back here on Sunday at 12 o'clock. And next week, we'll be talking about spirituality and mental health. Right? So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you. Marlon, I love you and thank you again.
Thank you.
And you have an amazing rest of your Sunday, and we'll catch up in the week.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.